want to welcome you to the Ask Jeff YouTube channel. The question today is, what scripture gives us the basis for saying the Song of Solomon is an allegory for the church and Jesus? Now, okay, let's take this question and kind of look at it in pieces. The Song of Solomon, in its historical context, is whom we know as Solomon, being inspired by the Spirit of God to write a story about his relationship with his wife. Doctrinally speaking, when we look at that passage, what did that mean for the people of God at that time relating to their God? We could even take it a step further and say this was a picture of not only Solomon and his wife, but a picture of the Lord and whom we know as Israel, his wife, and how there was this love for one another, this affection for one another, this desire for one another at times of distance and also at times of closeness. Now, there is no explicit scripture anywhere in the Bible that says Song of Solomon is an allegory for the church and its relationship to the Lord. The reason that we have, quote, said so is because the church is communicated very clearly in Scripture, Ephesians 5, one of many passages, that we are the bride of Christ. And if we are the bride of Christ, then it makes sense that we would relate to him as a wife does a husband. And the book of Song of Solomon is this very explicit expose of the relationship between a husband and a wife, their affection for one another, and even their appreciation for each other. So there is no explicit scripture that says Song of Solomon is an allegory for the church and its relationship to Jesus Christ. It is the literal story of Solomon and his relationship to his literal wife. It's also an Old Testament allusion to Israel and the Lord. But for you and I today, it serves as an allegory. Now, before I close, when you look at a passage allegorically, you do not allow the allegory to dictate the doctrine of the actual entity. In other words, we cannot look at the story between Solomon and his wife and dictate what happened then 3,000 years ago to force that relationship alters, or shall we say dictates what our relationship with the Lord is. Allegories serve as a purpose of illustration or maybe giving us some color commentary. They should never shape our doctrine. Again, it's to be given as insight, not as doctrine. Great question. If you have one, send it to AskJeff.net. Maybe your question will be tomorrow. Thanks for being a part of today's daily question. Now, we answer a question each and every day. Please feel free to submit a new question at AskJeff.net. We may not have gotten to yours today, but we eventually will continue to be a part of this. Subscribe so you don't miss out on a question every day.